All right, Tuesday Thoughts, week number 29. Okay, so a quote for the week comes from Steve Jobs. Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. Too many times we think of innovation as being a technology, a mechanical type of thing, physical thing. Sometimes that innovation is just simply the idea, and that can simply be. And I keep using simply because we need to keep it as a simple thing. It's not fancy and technical of stuff, but it could be just something like talking to a friend, but then figuring out how to study, or working with one of your coworkers, or somebody that you're a leader of, and coming up with how do we reach them. As a teacher, my job is to be innovative all the time. Okay? I told the students that one of the greatest things that I can hear a student say is, I don't understand. Because I know I'm not going to teach it right all the time and not going to be super clear. If they come up and say that I don't understand, or I need help, that tells me they want to learn, they want to grow, and I need to figure out a new way to do it, and I love the problem solving of that. And as a leader, that should be your mindset, that you want to innovate, find a new thing. It may be something just for you, but maybe it'll help others as well. And along those lines, the phrase that I love to have for my students and people that I talk to and work with and things, that is, do better, be better, expect better, accept better. Okay? How do you raise the standards and make it okay to raise the standards and make it known that that's what needs to be done and that you're good with that? You're not going to be okay with adequate or average or marginal. Now, what that looks like for different individuals may be very different, right? Success for one person may look very different than success for another because of what they can achieve or what their strengths or their weaknesses are. So how do we raise that level for every individual on an individual basis for that? So do better, be better, expect better, accept better, and by the way, it goes for yourself as well. Okay? All right. So this random fact of the week, when I came across this, it was the memories of personal pain, like personal physical pain. I've experienced something with this. So you may have heard of police dogs, but have you heard of police geese? As soon as I read that, it wasn't the police thing. Don't go there, right? But growing up on a farm, we had geese. Those things are mean. Man, I've been chased. I've been pecked. I've been attacked by those things. It's not cool. But in 2013, there were 12 police stations in rural areas of China that started using geese as sentries. They're alert animals. They can create a lot of noise and commotion, and so the law enforcement officers, it worked as their alarm system. I know there's a lot of farmers in the U.S. and other places around the world that are using them in with sheep as guards for the sheep, or to alert them that there's a problem, whether that's the farmer, the shepherd, the dog, whatever's going to come out and defend the sheep, but it's an alert system for that. Okay? So it hasn't spread way through China at that point, but the police in one province say that the geese have already stopped at least one theft. So they're doing their job. But that's the idea of innovation, right? Come up with something new. We don't have the technology or the resources to do some of these big fancy things, but we could use what we have, and it'll work. Okay? And speaking of thinking about things, you ever had that moment when you've been laying on the ground, or you're driving, you look up at the sky and you see shapes in the clouds, or for some of us it's been looking at the shapes on cattle or pigs, and seeing what's on there, or the broken pattern on a rabbit, okay, or other animals in there, going, oh, that looks like, and with clouds we see the shapes, and animals are like, now I know what I'm going to name them, right? Okay, there's actually a phenomenon for that, or it's an explanation of what it is of doing that. It's called pareidolia, okay? And that's where the mind sees certain image or a pattern when it doesn't actually exist, and we make those things happen. So look for patterns, ways to have innovation, to be creative so that you can raise the standards for things. Do better, be better, expect better, accept better. And that's the Tuesday Thoughts for week number 29. Talk to you next time.